we need to talk about stuff that you should absolutely not do when it comes to illustrations. All right, so last week we talked about some things that when it comes to sharing illustrations and you sharing personal illustrations, you don't want to share too much. So here are 5 things that you absolutely should not do on top of that when it comes to illustrations. And number 1 is don't put your wife on blast. Um, Now, this is common when it comes to preachers. I remember I heard this preacher. I'm not gonna call his name, but it's funny. He probably wouldn't mind, but I'm not. I don't want to embarrass him. He said, "She's the cream cheese in my bagel. She's the jelly in my donut." It's just a little bit too much. Some people watching this will know who I'm talking about. But the fact of the matter is, there's a level of that might be funny, that might be cute, but there's a level that is inappropriate, right? Like, you don't want to tell an embarrassing story about your wife. And I suppose if you've been married for any number of years, you already know that. Don't do that. But along with that, don't do that to other people. Don't share embarrassing stories about other people, which goes back to what we said last week. If you're going to share an embarrassing story, share one about yourself, but make sure it's not too embarrassing, because you don't want to make the audience too uncomfortable or make the space too inappropriate. The second thing is, you don't want to share information that is inaccurate. Now, that sounds like a no-brainer, but it's really important. You want to make sure you check your sources, check your information, make sure you got your facts straight, because this is the age of fact-checking information. People gonna go on their phone, they gonna Google it, they gonna make sure that you saying what you think you're saying, or you saying what you're saying right. So don't give false, inaccurate information. And then number 3, you want to make sure that you do not read your illustration. Some people, you pull a story, and this is obviously for speakers, right? So you pull a story, and it's a great story. You want to share the story. I remember this story about the man and his horse, and he told the townspeople that. Is it a blessing or a curse? It's a long story, but it's a great one, right? So what do you have to do? You got to memorize the story. You don't want to stand up there reading the story, because it loses its power when you read it. Listen, I don't want to take up too much time, so I'll share the next 2 of the 5 things you don't want to do when sharing illustrations next time. So do me a favor, if you have questions, put it in the comment section below, or hit me up at Thinkin, right? And I will be sure to chop it up with you. Bring that question to the Thinkin Chair chat so we can talk about creating quality church content.